Welcome back. We've had this guy in a lot because the Lakers have been in the news all the time. Jovan Buha, formerly of The Athletic. He's got a new job coming up. He's got his Buha's Block podcast. Hasn't invited me on, but whatever. He's going to...
Open invite whenever you want.
He's going to the Summer League tonight to watch Bronny.
Within like an hour,
yeah.
I'm going straight to the airport, yeah.
Bronny versus Cooper Flagg, huh?
Yeah.
Is that how it's being built? Cooper Flagg versus the 58th pick?
55th.
55th, sorry, apologies. We'll get to that soon. But we've got to start, obviously, with Deandre Ayton giving his first interview since going to the Lakers. And I think people are already past his failures in Portland and forfeiting $10 million to get out of town. He said LeBron has not texted him, but Luka has. Now, you had a great nugget last time that Austin Reeves and Jake LaRavia share an agent. Doesn't Luka share an agent with DeAndre Jordan? So maybe that's like agent... Or is there something? Should we read something into this?
No, so I've heard they have a good rapport, but like by NBA standards, a good rapport between Luka and DeAndre Ayton. So they share an agent. They were the top, two top three picks in the same draft, 2018 draft. Ayton went first, Luka went third. Their families have met each other. Like they have a rapport. So Luka, I've been told, was on board with Ayton coming on, and like he got the stamp of approval. So Luka's excited to have a pick and roll partner. And like DeAndre Ayton, for all of the discourse around him, we'll say, has been statistically one of the most efficient pick and roll threats, pick and roll finishers, lob threats, like over the last few years. So I think Luka's excited. Like he's certainly an upgrade over Jackson Hayes, we'll say. So like, I think like this is a guy who's been double every year of his career. Obviously, there's been some questions with the motor and whatnot, but like, I think like he's effectively in a contract year, so he's got a lot to prove. And he talked about like this situation fueling him, and like, I thought the best line of his whole press conference was, "I can't run from this. Like I picked this platform, I can't hide from this now." So this is going to be the most scrutiny and spotlight he's dealt with in his career, playing for the Lakers as their starting center. So we'll see what he's made of. And
it feels like maybe, he had always been saying, I just got to get that second contract, the big one. Mm-hmm. He got that. So he's been paid, and now they lost in the finals when he was like 22 in Phoenix. Does he marginally change the Lakers or significantly change them? Because, I mean, again, they had nothing at center last year.
I think it's probably somewhere in between.
Okay.
Just because, again, like if you go back to the playoffs a couple months ago, they literally could not play a center. Like JJ Redick lost all trust in Jackson Hayes, and it got to the point where they were through Maxi Kleber in a game 5 after he missed like 3 months with a foot injury and foot surgery. So it's like that showed you the level of... Now, it's interesting, Jackson Hayes is back, and I think as a backup, he's fine.
Solid.
But he also does share an agent with Luka and DeAndre Ayton. So they're I mean, but I think these are all positive signs for Luka's upcoming extension on August 2nd.
Okay, so a lot of Luka talk, Jovan. You're not talking about LeBron a lot. What's going on?
It's been quiet, and I came on here and we talked about it. Like, I don't think he's going to get traded. I think this has been just him putting some pressure on the organization because he sees the finish line and he's trying to get them to move that first-round pick, to invest in this year's roster and not look ahead to 2026 or 2027, because there's the report by ESPN that they're trying to keep the cap sheet clean for the summer of 2027 when Giannis could potentially be available, or is a Jokic available, either for trade or to sign one of those guys. Jokic would still be under contract, but like, does someone want out at that point? And then the Lakers have the flexibility with multiple picks, some expiring contracts, and maybe some young players at that point that like you could flip that for the next star post LeBron. So I think he's been trying to put some pressure on them to do something, and we'll see, I guess, the rest of this month if they do it.
Let's ask, is there a deal to be had right now with their 2026 first? By the way, the 2026 draft class is pretty damn good. A lot of good players. But like Dalton Connect in the first, that's not getting you much.
So they can't trade the 2026. It has to be the 2031 or 32. So I guess the upside there is like you are betting on what are the Lakers going to look like in 6 or 7 years, which I mean, Luka will be, I guess, 32, 33. Should still be in like maybe the tail end of his prime, but still probably in his prime. I think that pick has value. I think the issue has been like we've seen teams start to value first-round picks again in a way that they hadn't for the last few years. So if you look at it, like some of these trades that have happened, like the prices for guys have dropped, with the exception of like the Michael Porter Jr. trade with Cam Johnson. Like first round picks aren't flying around anymore. So I do think if they put Dalton Connect and the first on the table, they could get in some conversations that, like, on paper, maybe you wouldn't expect them to, but it doesn't seem like they want to do that. It seems like they like having a first going into the season and having that flexibility to maybe make a move or make a move down the road. So I'm a little skeptical right now, but it's fluid.
So you reported LeBron and the Lakers management not getting along great. Is this because maybe LeBron, he's just upset that he's no longer the guy to build around and it's Luka? Is this him pouting? Does he have a player in mind? What?
I think it's a little bit of all that, right? This is the first time you could say in LeBron's career he hasn't been the sole focus or the primary focus of his franchise that he's been on. Like, even with AD, it was always LeBron trying to pass the baton to AD. Luka just came in and got the baton, right, from owner. Like, he was handed it on a golden pillow. So, and understandably so, because he's at worst top 5 player in the league, if not top 3, with the upside to be the best player, in my opinion, and win an MVP. So, like, I get it. He's a guy who's about to enter his prime, has already led a team to the finals. But LeBron's just, I think the big thing is, like, he sees the finish line, whether it's another year, 2 years, and he wants to win that 5th ring. And it doesn't feel like the Lakers are going all in on this year's roster. They're trying to kind of split the baby. Not yet, but even if, I guess if they trade the first, I'll say that's going all in. But anything short of that, it is kind of like a half measure in terms of, like, trying to make this year's roster better, but also keeping that flexibility. Like, those two things are kind of at odds.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're prioritizing the future.
Remember with, like, the James Wiseman 2
But they won a title. Like, they kind of did the best version of it. Obviously, the Wiseman pick didn't work out, but they were able to rebuild quickly, get back to the finals, win a championship, and then now, obviously, we'll see with them.
So that brings me to Bradley Beal. So the Suns cannot seem to find a taker for him with that contract. So they'll have to waive and stretch.
Yeah.
And I was saying at the outset, Beal at 50 mil, not really good. Beal at 5 mil, amazing. Do you anticipate that to happen to Beal? And then who are the main contenders for him?
Sounds like the Clippers are the main
above the Lakers?
Yeah. Because they could offer him a starting spot with the Lakers. It gets a little dicey if you look at, like, Luka, Austin, Beal, LeBron. A lot of firepower, but defensively, that's going to be
But their closing
tough.
lineup would 100% have Beal. Ayton,
but
Luka,
again,
LeBron.
But then I just think that defense isn't good enough if you just look at, right? Like,
but wouldn't the offense overcompensate for it with Beal and Reeves on the perimeter?
Maybe. But I think we kind of saw Phoenix try to do that approach with KD, Booker, and Beal and be like, like they tried to go the all-wing offensive approach, and it just didn't really work. So I'm personally skeptical. Like, I'm of two minds. Beal at $5 million, great value.
Yeah.
And the Lakers, I think, need a talent upgrade. So, like, from that perspective, you could talk me into it. I just think he would have to buy into probably a 6-man role and selectively close. Like, there might be some matchups where it's like, we need more defense, so you're not closing tonight. And is he okay with that? I think he's still trying to get back to being a starter, and because you also got to think about his next contract, right? So, like, in the NBA, once you accept the bench role, once you get bought out, like, there is like a stamp on you that I think affects, like, your perception and, like, your next deal. Like, very few guys are able to get bought out and, like, rehab their value. So I think once now you're making $5 million, now you're coming off the bench. Maybe next contract's like a mid-level contract. So I think for him, maybe going to the Clippers or going to, like, a Milwaukee, I think would be
come on.
But not from like a competition perspective, but, like, he could be the number 2 guy in Milwaukee and, like, really show.
So let's
what
back
he still
up then.
has.
What does Bradley Beal want? He's made I can't say that word. He's made a lot of money.
Made a lot of money.
What does he want? Has he been to a conference finals?
Not to my
No. Second round with the Wizards. Like,
Yeah.
does he want to win or make more money on top of the, he's probably made $200 million in his career. I'm just guessing. Probably more than that.
Yeah.
Do you want to win? Like, also going to the Lakers versus going to the Clippers. Like, the Lakers are going to be on more TV games. They're the most high-profile team in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, the money he could make off the court with the Lakers. I don't know where is his wife from.
You don't
LA?
have to sell. I agree with you. Like, I understand the arguments for the Lakers. I just think if the Clippers are offering a starting role in, like, 30 minutes a night and the Lakers can't quite match that, I think at that point, that's a potential differentiator.
Who is the Beal Harden backcourt stopping? I mean, come on.
I think we could run some pick and roll against them.
I would like to think so. I think Beal at $5 million.
Yeah.
Might be the best contract in the league, given what if he could put up 17 a game.
He's still better than people have given him. Like, I think he's gotten a little too much flack because of the contract and because of how much a failure that Phoenix situation was, where he still averaged like 17, 4 and 4 last year, 39% three-point shooter. Like he's still good. It's just not $50 million good.
So basically, in a perfect world, the Lakers get Ayton at 8 and Beal at 5. Two, awesome rotational players for 13 mil. That would be a home run. They'd get an A. Would that get LeBron, you think, to buy in and get out of this funk or whatever he's dealing with right now?
I think he's going to buy in. I think I think it's going to work out. I don't know if that's enough. Like LeBron's always trade the picks. Like that is like LeBron's motto is trade the picks. So if you don't trade the picks and you're not, exhausting all resources to improve the roster, because you could still sign Beal and trade the picks and improve you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or trade the pick and then they got a few pick swaps. So I think for LeBron, there's a lot of things going on with the situation, but I think he will be a Laker starting whenever late September.
Hope you're right. All right, let's get to tonight's game. Cooper Flagg making his debut. It's against Bronny. Bronny has been up and down, fair to say, in the summer league.
He's playing better lately.
These guys online just put together clip reels of all the bad moments.
I mean, that dunk was incredible.
The dunk was incredible.
I haven't seen that bounce from him.
Wasn't
as
great.
A Laker.
Just your thoughts on what Flagg. What are reasonable expectations tonight? 20?
Yeah, I want to see the versatile skill set from him, because I think he's someone. The more I've studied his game and tried to come up with an NBA comp, I think he's more like an alpha Sean Marion, which is Sean Marion.
He was good.
Really good player, multi-time All-Star, and Olympian. But I said I think he's got more of that number 1 or number 2 type scorer gene that Marion was more of a number 3. But he's got that Marion skill set of I think he's going to be a guy at his peak, can play 3 through 5, can do defend multiple positions, can bring the ball up, run pick and roll, but also attack and come off screens and stuff. So he can do a lot of different things. In terms of tonight, I mean, this is arguably the most exciting debut
Bronny, tonight. It's a big one.
Since Zion, right? I would say Zion 2019. There was an earthquake that night, so we'll see. But 20 points, we'll say.